Welcome back to the World Trade Webcast, your source for news analysis and information about doing business worldwide. I'm your host, Greg Sandler, president of ThinkGlobal.com, the B2B marketplace for global trade leads. This week on the World Trade Webcast, we've been talking with the U.S. Commerce Department's Craig Allen about the upcoming Discover Global Markets Conference in New York, as well as business opportunities in Greater China. Craig is the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Asia at the Commerce Department's International Trade Administration. Craig, thanks for joining us and welcome back.
Thanks, it's a great pleasure.
So we've covered a lot of ground here in the past 4 days. Let's wrap up our discussion today with a preview of the Global Markets Forum, as well as a discussion about the fastest growing industries for exporters to China.
Terrific. Let me start on the fastest growing industries for American exporters to China. As you might imagine, I spend quite a bit of time looking at trade statistics and export statistics. And I have to note that there are a lot of areas that are growing very rapidly. And I'd like to highlight 5 of them here. On the infrastructure side, I noted that China has to create an urban environment for approximately 300 million rural to urban migrants over the next 20 years. Now, 300 million, that's the size of the United States population. That's a lot of urban infrastructure. So if you're looking at energy or telecom, in the environmental sector, the transportation sector, or the construction sector, there are tremendous opportunities. A second area I'd like to highlight is consumer goods. I noted that China's middle class is growing very rapidly, and that China's middle class is not that different from the middle class wherever you are. And they are aspirational consumers that like imported goods and who hold American products in very high esteem. I should also note that high technology across the board is a very rapidly growing segment for U.S. exporters. American manufacturers in the high-tech area do have to be especially concerned about their patent and copyright protections, as we had discussed in a previous talk. But if having taken those precautions, there is a very significant market in China and enormous potential to expand sales over the longer term, both in China and for incorporation into Chinese goods for use in China and re-export out of China. In the high-tech sector, be it pharmaceuticals or IT or materials or instruments, you need to have a China strategy. I'd also like to talk about services. The United States is primarily a service economy. China's services sector as a percentage of GDP is expanding very rapidly. And thus, there are opportunities across the board for American services companies to expand in China, usually through investment and partnerships. But we love those services exports, be it education or tourism or architecture, entertainment, and financial services. But those are just a smattering, and across the board, services exports are soaring. I should also mention industrial exports. The Chinese wages are expanding or growing at 20% a year. American industry is so productive that we're seeing a lot of industrial goods exports, be it in chemicals or petrochemicals or in other industrial goods, growing very rapidly to Chinese factories and into the Chinese industrial sector. And that is a very interesting phenomenon that we look forward to watching in the future. So industrial goods exporters should also be watching China carefully and looking for new opportunities that are growing as a result of the tectonic shifts that we had discussed in earlier talks. So really across the board, we're seeing increases in U.S. exports, and I would expect in all of those sectors for there to continue to be rapid growth in the foreseeable future. Thank you.
Thanks, Craig. And again, we're talking with Craig Allen from the U.S. Department of Commerce. Craig is one of the foremost experts in the United States about doing business in China. And this is an indication, everything that we've talked about this week is an indication of the kind of value and brainpower that you'll find at the Greater China Business Forum in New York, a two-day conference, October 7th and 8th at the New York Athletic Club. Very briefly, Craig, could you give folks just a quick idea of what they can expect at the forum?
Well, I'm very excited about this forum. We have a lot of colleagues who will be traveling to New York from all over the country. But I'll be particularly excited to see my colleagues from the U.S. embassies in Beijing and in Singapore. We also have representatives coming from Hong Kong and Taipei as we emphasize the greater Chinese nature of the market. We also have experts from all of the industries that I've mentioned who will be talking about market entry strategies and the individual characteristics of Chinese markets. We'll have experts there to talk one-on-one with every single American company that comes to be able to consult with you on your IPR needs and strategies, to talk with you about market entry strategies, to talk with you about regional markets. All of the expertise of the U.S. government will be there. We're also very grateful for the generous support from other governments, including the Chinese government, as well as trade associations in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Singapore. There will be a great amount of expertise in that room. All will be anxious to help new-to-market American companies that are ready to take the China challenge. And it will be a tremendous pleasure and an honor to work with more American companies as you consider this most exciting but challenging market opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks, Craig. It certainly sounds like a place that anyone interested in doing business or expanding their business in China needs to be. If you're interested in talking with some of the leading experts on the ground around the world in terms of China and Greater China, the Discover Global Markets China Forum is something that will be of interest to you. And again, information about the forum is available online. You can start at Export.Gov. And please join us on Monday as we continue the World Trade Webcast. For our latest schedule of upcoming episodes, subscribe to us with any of the links below and bookmark this page. All of our previous webcasts can be found at thinkglobal.com/webcast. And Craig, thank you again for joining us this week. Your information and insights have been tremendously useful.
Thank you, Craig. What a pleasure it is to work with you. Thank you.
Likewise, and best of luck with the forum. And for all of you out there, thanks for watching, and join us again on Monday.